today I am super excited because I have my girl Ildiko, I just call her Ildi, and she's going to talk to you all about energy. And I just going to shut up right now so you can get into my computer screen and you can meet my friend Ildi.
Hello everybody, thank you so much Elizabeth for having me on today. I'm truly honoured. My name is Ildiko SpinFisher. I am a biofield psychologist. What that means is I use the human biofield to create massive transformations in people's perceptions and well-being. I specialise in working with business owners and entrepreneurs across the globe, and I've been in private practice since 2004. I run workshops, masterclasses, courses to train others in my particular specialism, which is called Life Retuning, which I'm the founder of. And I am now the author of my first book, which is called Energy Aware, Live a Life of No Mistakes. Thank you very much for having me on today.
Okay, so LD, we met in the How to Be Brilliant group, and then we are a part of the Write That Book group.
Yes.
Could you go in more in depth? Because obviously you would have told me this, but could you go in more in depth for the listeners to understand just a little bit more on life retuning and stuff like that, like what it really helps you with, well, people with?
Yeah, sure. So it's becoming more known now about the human biofield. In fact, I have just been listening to an online summit, which is called the Vibrational Summit, which has been interviewing people like building biologists who are aware of the environmental impact of EMF, electromagnetic frequencies that are coming from our devices, for instance, and dirty electric energy coming from bad wiring in houses. We are all affected by these unnatural man-made frequencies. Now, the natural frequencies are what we are surrounded by. They're the emanations out from our physical body into a space that surrounds us, which is known as the biofield. So what I do is I work with retuning frequencies within that biofield space. So everything is energy. And Einstein is famously quoted as saying that everything is energy, there is no such thing as matter. And so everything is frequency and vibration. And in fact, quantum physics over the years has now proved that that is the case, that physical matter is vibrating all the time as well. So it's just a lower level frequency. And so what I do is I work with the frequencies and vibrations of emotions, negative emotional states, to change them up to positive emotional states. And that can be done via literally changing the vibration of an emotion. So also the brainwave frequencies, you know, our thoughts are actual waves. And we know that because from neuroscience, we know about the alpha, the beta, the delta brain waves, you know, the different ways that we are consciously awake and aware. And those are also energy vibrations. So our beliefs are particular frequencies, and what I can do is change up those frequencies. So in real terms, what that means is, say you're stuck in a self-limiting belief, oh, I'm not good enough. You know, I'm not good enough to go and speak in front of a crowd of people. What that is a limiter on your behavior and your abilities. And so what I'm able to do is actually change up that frequency and change your mind's entire perspective and belief to, I am good enough to go and speak to a crowd of people, and you just go and do it. So a lot of the time with my clients across the globe, they'd be stuck in anxiety states, you know, about, for instance, delegation, you know, that would be a great one. Of if you're running a business and feeling anxious about delegating to people you're bringing on board, because a lot of business owners like to hang on to every single part of the business, you know, and it's very hard to let go of something and trust somebody else. So, you know, that would be an example. Making decisions. I mean, that's what my book is all about. How do we make good decisions? And a lot of the time it's going to be colored by the background. What I mean by the background is the emotional baggage that we carry, that we haven't dealt with in a healthy way, because it's only recently that it's been understood that our emotional well-being is actually linked directly to our entire well-being. So being emotionally healthy is a very, very important thing. But if we're not, we can make decisions which are really detrimental to our lives, our future. Because if we make a knee-jerk reaction, for instance, decision, then we can end up feeling very disappointed and disillusioned about what the outcome is, you know, of that decision further down the line. So the emotional side of things, taking care of that. The other side is how we perceive our lives based on our minds. And that's all down to what we learn throughout our lives, right from an early age, when we learn about our family's beliefs. That's our foundation for the rest of our lives. And then gradually we start to take on other people's opinions. You know, we take on the opinions of the media, for instance, or friends or colleagues. And these beliefs gradually build up to our worldview. Now, that can also be very distorted, especially if we're listening to the media, because obviously, as we know, the media's number one need and desire is to make money. And we know that sensational bad news, which we have been brainwashed into, by the way, for decades, to crave, it's a craving, it's an addiction with most people, is actually selling them papers, but damaging our health incredibly. So one of those damages, the way that it shows up, is using assumptions and judgments about things we know nothing about, but making a decision based on no knowledge at all, just the opinion of somebody who wants to sell you a paper. So these are the kind of areas that I work with. What it breaks down to is feeling unhappy, disillusioned, lacking confidence. You know, I find a lot of my clients are lacking confidence in running their businesses, especially in speaking or getting on video or doing a podcast show. They say, oh no, I couldn't possibly. No, I can't do that. And yet at the same time, what they're doing is missing a vital opportunity where they could make sales in their business. So they are limiting themselves. So yeah, these are the kind of issues that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, but it kind of goes deep down quite often into our backgrounds as to why we are limiting ourselves now in our lives.
Listen, you are just like a gift to humankind. I'm so serious. Because, you know, like I told you, I am like a big believer in energy and the thing, especially what you focus on, what you tell yourself. I mean, especially when you talk about being, scared to come on video. I was terrified. I mean, I was literally terrified when I started my second YouTube channel from the first one. And this time
you're great. You're so good.
Thank you. That means a whole lot. And this time around, it's like no one knew that I had a channel. So anyone that's on my channel do not know me. well, other than my
Right.
best friend, but you know, anyone else, like they don't
Yeah.
know me. So I have 681 people, and that's
Wow.
the one from my best friend right now. And I have 680 people who do not know me, but they
Mm,
subscribe to my channel and they watch my videos and they get
mm,
so much from it because I
mm.
was willing to step out of that,
Yes.
of that fear, and because I know
Yes.
a bit about energy. I'm not an expert like you are, because you gave me a lovely. I wish that you could tell them a bit about you and how you got into it, because that really shows too that, because you know there are a lot of people out there doing like similar things or whatever, but it's
Mm,
when some person use the service that they provide for themselves to get out of
mm.
certain things. I just think that that really, you know, well, it really touched my heart what you did for you. You know,
Thank
what you
you.
did for you, it's so amazing, and people normally can't get themselves there.
Mm.
You know, we all go
Yes,
through so
that's
many
true.
things in life, and life could be so frustrating and so uh,
Yeah.
at times. And if you
Yeah.
don't know how, you know, that how you help to tune your
Mm,
energy, if you don't know
mm,
that,
mm.
you're so
Sure.
lost. You know, it's so serious. And then also, I want you to tell them a bit more about your book, because I'm definitely buying that. You know,
Sure.
and I know you have it for pre-order, but I
Yeah.
want you to talk just a little bit about you, because, and I know
Sure.
this meeting today is completely different from anyone that I've ever had, and reason being is because
Hmm.
what your service to me is very special, very very special. And I always, you know, you always see the posts online and stuff, but to actually meet some person that, you know, not only do you offer it as a service, because a lot of people they just find out about something and say, oh well, I can make money from this. You actually do it because it helps you, you know. So that's why I want them to know a bit more.
Yeah, sure. I'd be delighted to share my story, especially if it's inspirational for people out there. You know, my mission, if you like, is to end pain on this planet as many times as I possibly can. And so the work that I do is always with that underlying intention to end pain, end suffering as much as I possibly can. And that comes from my own experience of how bad it can get. Because when I was 24 years old, I had a severe nervous breakdown. Um, I had never experienced anything like that up until 24 years old. I had experienced a lot of bullying, and I had a lot of self-confidence issues. It's probably really strange to see me confident on here, but I couldn't have said boo to goose, you know, when I was growing up. I couldn't even really, if there was a group of 3 people, I'd just shut up. I couldn't even express myself to that level. So I had several years of bullying at a Catholic all-girls school run by nuns, and I had a horrific time. But by 24 years old, my system just gave up, and something had to go ping, and that something was me. And I just overnight completely imploded. Psychologically, I developed several phobias immediately. I had a problem with it going dark, you know, actually going dark at night. So I spent several years where I was basically knocking myself out at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because I couldn't cope with the fact that at 4 p.m. it would be dark. I would get panic attacks. And for a long time, I was getting panic attacks where I was hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. And that was happening to me regularly during a day. So I could have six or 7 panic attacks per day. I was so exhausted, Elizabeth. I can't even tell you. I had major adrenal fatigue. At the time, I had no idea about any of these things, but I was suffering major adrenal fatigue. I was not able to function. I couldn't even think about more than the hour ahead of me, and I literally looked at it as surviving. Oh, wow. I've survived another hour of my life. Now, this went on for about 8 years. It was absolutely horrendous, but it was also my breakthrough, because I started questioning absolutely everything from the ground up about myself, about the world, about medicine and how capable it was of helping me. And the answer to that was not at all. I had no help, because I bounced around from, you know, one doctor to another. I went to psychotherapist, I went to counselor, I tried all sorts of modalities, nothing helped. So for 8 years, I was stuck in this place of basically thinking that was my life was over. I had no future. I would just be stuck having panic attacks and being terrified to go outside my front door. And that would be my life, you know, from at 24 years old. So I had to find some answers for myself. And, you know, I'm a very stubborn person. Thankfully, I have a tremendous iron willpower. When I decide to do something, it gets done. And so I started searching for some sort of answer that obviously didn't exist at the time. And I got led to starting to find out about quantum physics. Now, it sounds kind of crazy, but I started looking at the laws of energy through quantum physicians' eyes, and it made complete sense to me. I started to understand how the world is made up through vibrations. And I'd already had a little bit of experience of Reiki. That was the first time I actually started using energy and started to understand that energy can make massive changes, massive shifts that our minds are incapable of doing. They're not capable of going there. Our physical bodies cannot do either without the help, the vibrational help. So I learned Reiki 1 and 2. I went through the initiations. I also started learning a particular prototype of energy psychology, which taught me that there were energy fields and that there was coded information that could be altered, but it didn't go far enough. I qualified in various modalities. I was trying this, I was trying that, and then it all just came together for me. And I saw through the quantum physics lens that everything started making sense. And it was all about vibration, and everything is linked to everything else. So, you know, if you are not looking after your emotional state, you will suffer physically eventually, and you might actually suffer mentally as well. You know, if you're not looking after the quality of your thoughts, then you are going to have this domino effect of disillusionment, of feeling stuck, of actually finally, you know, ending up with illness, physical illness. It's all linked together. And I love the quote from the, you know, the ancient Upanishads, the Vedic text from India, thousands of years old. And one of the quotes in there is, "What man thinks about, he becomes." Now that is very deep and profound, because it tells us that when we spend our days watching rubbish on the TV and rubbish on our phones, scrolling through idiotic this and that and everything else, if you're watching junk, then you're going to become junk internally. So this is one of the big discoveries I made at the time. And I started looking back at my life, that I had lived up until the point where I had this implosion, you know, this breakdown. And I realized that if I looked at my diet, that was dreadful, dreadful. You know, I was eating on the hoof. I was eating fast food sometimes, not taking care of my well-being. The people I surrounded myself with, the relationship I was in at the time was toxic. I was working in a place where I was not valued, and I couldn't value myself. I did not have the quality of relationships surrounding me that were supportive and loving. I was living in London at the time, which is a tremendously toxic place to live in. And I was just totally doing just about everything I could to basically break down, you know. And it was a massive discovery. On top of that, I decided that I wanted to get healthy. It makes me laugh now. I wanted to get healthy. And because I, like everybody else, thought that milk was the answer, I started drinking a pint of milk every day. And actually, that's really what led to the acceleration of my breakdown. And the reason was because my body couldn't tolerate milk. Even at primary school, I hated even the smell of it. It would make me heave. I would be feeling like I was going to be sick if I went anywhere near it. So I decided, in order to be able to drink the milk, I was putting in teaspoonfuls of, do you remember the Nesquik banana milkshake powder? Oh God, full of chemicals, full of just about everything that I should not have been putting in my body. And there's me heaping in about 3 teaspoonfuls, so holding my nose and just knocking back a pint of milk a day. My body was absolutely devastated by what I was doing because I was unconscious about the level of damage that I was creating. So when later on in time I looked back, I was saying to myself, my God, it's no surprise that something had to give, you know. So that's why I walk my talk, because I've been there and I got myself out of it. And I am a success story because now I don't have any of that, and I haven't had any problem for years. But I help other people who are unconscious and unaware of what they're doing to understand about energy, to understand about energy toxins. You know, I discovered that milk, apart from other things like wheat and eggs, were an actual disruptor to my system. They were disharmonious molecules entering my body, but the energy field that they were creating was disrupting the health of my biofield, which I only really got to realize later down the line. So these are the kind of revelations that I see as tremendously important to teach people, to empower people, or allow them to empower themselves, to understand that there is so much we can do to help ourselves. You don't need to rush to the doctor at the first drop of a hat. There is so much you can actually do within your own energy system, with the tweaking, the retuning, you know, the reharmonizing. It's absolutely incredible. So this is what blows me away, you know, about the whole thing. And when it comes to my book, you know, Elizabeth, I've been trying to write this book since 2013. And it just wasn't happening. But I now know that things have to be aligned. You know, it's only when things get aligned that something activates, the floodgates open, and we are able to pass through to the next part of our lives. So in 2013, I had this massive download of information, this data information, which turned out to be 24 guidance principles for how to live an energetic life, our new paradigm of consciousness. So I wrote it down as quickly as I could. And for all this time period, I have been going back to these guidances, you know, to help me to reorient myself. But I have also shared it with my clients and students, and they've all just been blown away by what these guidances were containing, you know, the wisdom, but not just from a third dimensional level, you know, the world as we see it, but a fifth dimensional level, which is what we're moving into. And so, yeah, I mean, my life is run on synchronicity. You know, we had a good laugh about this, didn't we? When we chatted, because synchronicities that happen to me are wild. They are so crazy, you couldn't make it up. You know, just absolutely incredible. But I decided at the beginning of the lockdown period that this was finally the message to me to say, sit down on your backside, woman, and write this book. It's needed. So I listened, I paid attention, and I finally decided I was going to take a whole week out, and I was going to sit down and grab my notes, you know, and start writing this book. So I made the decision on the Friday before that week of, I was going to do a digital detox, you know, switch off everything, just sit in the garden and just write with an old-fashioned pen and paper. A mutual friend of ours who I know you've interviewed, Angie Beeston, she messaged me and said, hey, Ildi, I know you're going to have this, you know, digital detox and you're going to start writing your book, but I want to let you know about an opportunity. There's this writer I know, and I've, you know, read his books, called Michael Heppel, and he's going to be doing this pop-up group for a week, which is called Write That Book. Maybe it would be useful for you. So I thought, right, yes, okay. I decide I'm going to switch myself off from the world. And what does the world do? The world comes in and grabs me, pulls me back out. So that first week, I mean, it was just amazing, because if you remember, I think the first challenge was to come up with a possible name for our book. Then there was the subtitle, there was the promise, all of these things, and it all just completely aligned with what I needed to do. So by the end of that week, I was sitting there, and I'm absolutely certain I'd fast-tracked so much with Michael's help. By the end of that week, I was sitting there going, oh my Lord, this is amazing. And then, of course, he offered this incredible course, Write That Book Masterclass. And getting onto that group and meeting wonderful people like yourself, the other writers, and taking this incredible journey, you know, having the interviews with people from the industry, the writing industry and author industry, was absolutely perfect. You know, the timing couldn't have been better. But the message I was getting right from the beginning, as soon as I put up information about what I planned to write, was, oh my God, I want to read that book. When are you going to finish it? Because I need to read that book. And it was just over and over and over and over again from everybody. And I was sitting there thinking, wow. So I've been, you know, spending all this time not getting to the point of writing this book. Now is the moment. And then, as I said, you know, about the synchronicity, this week I just was sent an email from somebody who I have as a contact, I think on LinkedIn, to say he's running a vibrational summit. Was I in? You better believe I was in. I've just been listening to these amazing experts, like building biologists. Have you heard of a building biologist? You know, it's a new career that's only been around for about 5-6 years, as far as I'm aware, in its form, where experts go in and check to see how much energetic and magnetic frequencies there are in your house, and find out where the hot spots and the dirty energy is in your house, and why you're feeling ill, why you have headaches, why you've got ringing in your ears, why you can't sleep, why you are feeling depressed, why you are feeling anxious and on edge all the time. And there's more and more evidence now to show that the devices we use, these things, the computers, the routers, and all the other things that we, you know, paraphernalia, are actually making us ill. And of course, we've got 5G round the corner, which is very, very concerning. 4G, which is going to be whacked up. So 4G is the real problem at the moment. That's going to be whacked up so that we're going to be being bathed in even higher level destructive frequencies. And then we've got 5G, which is going to be coming in, which is like a micromillimeter wavelength, which is penetrating. So if you don't know about energy, as far as I'm concerned now, I'm actually going to say this, you are really at a disadvantage. You really are. My book, Energy Aware, is about understanding the biofields, what I call our birthright, our bioenergetic birthright, the emanations that stretch out about 4 meters outside of every single person's and living being's physical body, filled with frequencies that are healthful, that are helpful, but also detrimental. If we don't clear our trauma, we don't clear our emotional baggage, we don't deal with our self-limiting and self-defeating thought patterns, then these are all, you know, what we carry around in our biofield. But you know, if you don't know about your biofield, you need to get to understand about it. If you don't know about the unnatural technologies and the frequencies, you need to get to know about it. If you don't know about how the natural world functions on frequency, you know, our surroundings, our environment, the animals, the plants, they all function on frequencies. But we don't know this because they're invisible, and we've been told for so long that it's a load of, you know, it's a crock of rubbish by vested interests, those who've had vested interests in denying us the information. So my book is about redressing the balance to a certain, you know, on a certain level. It's about teaching about your birthright, your bioenergetic birthright. But it's also combining the 24 energy principles, which divide up to personal, relationship, and global energy principles that will help you make less mistakes or no mistakes at all. Because if you think about an animal that we know about very well, and a lot of people are very scared of, which is the shark. Now, the shark is a super predator. But what makes the shark a super predator? It's because it uses electrosensory perception. In other words, it can't make a mistake with where its prey is, because even if its prey is sitting under a rock, it can still tell, because it picks up on its life sign frequencies. So no matter where that fish goes, that shark is going to go for it and eventually get it. Can you imagine the power of using that in your own life and making no more mistakes? Because you're listening to your energy and you are reading the data that is always available there. So my book is about opening people's eyes, opening you to your own personal power that you have at the end of your fingers. You know, it's here. You don't have to pay anybody, you don't have to wait for anybody. It's here, it's instant, and it's, you know, it's absolutely magical, really, what we can do with our own energy and the energy of our environment when we harness it properly. Wow, I've been going on for quite a while.
Listen, no, but the thing is that for everything that you just shared with us is so important. You can tell like I was like right up by the screen, right? It's so like important because a lot of people don't know. They just figure that we just get up every day and we go around. And it's so funny you talk about having, you know, stuff around your house that is draining your energy, because you would know that I started to go to the beach every day now, right? Because I recognized being at home was starting to drain me. And I was like getting all miserable, and I just needed to get out. And now I go out, like right now I'm super tired. Because I did like 11,000 steps this morning, and equals like 4 miles. But as tired as I am happy. Because when you talk about energy, and like you say, you know, if people don't look into energy and they just feel that it's just this fool thing, you're completely lost. I am telling you. And I want to take this time too to encourage everybody, just go and check out your book. And I will definitely put all these links you know, in the description. I'll talk about it more, but definitely, because then even like the cover of your book, you know, I could feel it, you know. And it's so funny too, because, you know, people always talk about double numbers and stuff. And I was telling we were having some technical issues initially in
Yes.
doing this. And she sent me a message at 11:11, and I was like, oh my God. Because that number has been popping up for me like over the last couple of weeks. And I just been
Right.
seeing a lot of double number or triple numbers
Yes.
all the time.
Right.
But that
Mm.
one has been one of the prominent ones.
Mm.
So it's, you
Mm.
know, it's like, it's so, when you talk about energy and the different levels, because, you know, you touched on a lot of things there.
Mm.
I just want to take this time to really encourage everybody to, you know, if you are in a part of your life that you know that you don't know how to see out, LD is the best person for you to talk to, like definitely. So
Thank
before
you.
we end this, LD,
Mm.
is there anything you want to say before, like obviously before the video ends?
Yeah, you know, we are going through challenging times. This is a new era. Please be aware this is a new era. And the new evolution is energy. This is the new frontier. So don't be downhearted. Don't feel stuck, because every birthing is painful, and that's what we're going through, the birthing of the new era. So do pay attention to the fact that you have a biofield, and even if you just do some basic breathing, or like Elizabeth going down to the beach. In fact, going barefoot on the beach is the best way of connecting in with the electromagnetic field of the earth. So you're doing exactly the right thing, girl. Yay. Yeah, but you know, energy is very, very important, and every single one of you has it and has the power to use it in a very positive, healthful way.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed meeting LD. And make sure that you connect with her, and you can go check out her book. Every single thing for her is in the description down below. And I want to know if you learned anything in this video, what you will take from it for your everyday life. And make sure before you go to subscribe to the channel, share this video, press that notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Bye.